What is up, guys? It's your boy Nick Torius, back again with another video. Um, Today we're gonna be talking about the alpha male. Is there such thing as an alpha male? I don't know. We'll find. Subscribe, like, and comment the video, and we'll find out. So, what is an alpha male, right? Alpha male is the biggest, the chief, the kingpin, right? The man, the master, the man, right? And it's funny because you know, we us as men, as young men, we have no like when we have no direction in life, we turn to like things like like YouTube, right? We turn to things like the internet, like YouTube, all that shit, and we're just like, okay, this is God, basically, right? Like all of our answers are being taught by this some dude. Just put up his camera and just starts talking about shit he learned in a book, right? Or he learned from wherever. Basically, when we learn about alpha males, we learn like the Chad, right? And it's like, oh, the Chad, because we all have those Chads in our lives. I feel like it comes from trauma, right? Like the girls that we want, we end up seeing them with some dude, right? And that's like the worst feeling ever. It's like you like this girl so much, and then all of a sudden, she's with this jerk, right? He's like a jerk, and he's a dick to women, and then you're just like, but I'm nice. I'm a nice guy. Why isn't she like me? She said she likes nice guys, right? My mom said to be nice to girls, so I'm being nice to girls. Why don't they like me? Right? That's how it be. Because we'd be like, oh, if we're nice, all the girls will like us. But the thing is that that's all lies, right? Like it's all a bunch of lies that being nice is what makes girls like you. I'm reading this book called Iron John, right? And basically the book explains about what's happening in this world with all the feminism and all the men have to wear panties and shit nowadays. And it's like you're just, men are just not men, right? And I feel like we look at this alpha male, right? I feel like we look at alpha males as the alpha male, right? Instead of the alpha male within us, because we can all be alpha males, right? Like because the thing is like, all right, we all seen the Adam Ruins Everything, where he says there was a study where some German philosopher or scientist or whatever, he's like studying the wolves, and he finds that the wolves are not really fucking alpha males. They're just the parents of the kids, right? And it's funny because the thing is that there's always an argument for everything, and anything my brother says to me, I understand. It's because he's like, it's the internet, right? So we can argue about, okay, yeah, the wolves were fucking the parents, right? But that doesn't take away from the fact that there is such thing as an alpha male, right? Just because, yeah, the wolves were the parents of the fucking kids doesn't mean that the concept of the alpha male cannot exist, right? Because we all know that the alpha male does exist. It's a nigga that's not afraid, right? It's a nigga that doesn't care. It's a nigga who does, right? Because the alpha male, there are alpha males, right? Like the perfect nigga has a 6-pack, he's 6 feet, got a big dick, he has a lot of money, he has women trying to fuck him every single day, dudes want to be him, right? We all want to be that nigga. We all want to be like this person wasn't just created out of thin air, right? Like, yeah, they say the Hollywood standards and all that shit, right? But the thing is, they say Hollywood standards are unrealistic for women, but what about men, right? We all want to become the alpha male. We all want to be the nigga who has the Lamborghini, who's driving 10 Ferraris. We all want to be that nigga. So how is there no such thing as a concept of the alpha male? Like, if there's none in nature, then why not there be one for humans, right? Because the thing is that we're not the same as all the other animals. We're different. We we can become alpha males, right? We can have an alpha male. Why not? Who says that we can't, right? Like, just because a dude says there's no such thing, do you think that all these channels, like alpha male strategies, right? He explains what alpha males do in order to attract the woman, right? And don't get me wrong, and it's so funny when people be like, "Oh, I hate the term alpha male," da 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 da. But it's like that. I feel like that's the most accurate way, because the all right. Let's take it back a little bit, right? So, what is an alpha? Like, the thing is, I feel like people don't understand where these words come from, right? Like the word simp, right? How to be a simp, and what does it mean to be a simp? Um, for me, I believe that the word simp comes from the sympathetic nervous system, right? Like, people think, oh, it's because you're a simpleton. Like, no, I don't think that simp comes from simpleton. I think it comes from sympathetic nervous system, right? Because the thing is, the difference between a simp and an like, they're the total opposites, right? The total opposite of an alpha male is a simp, right? The thing is that, and we call them beta males, right? We call them beta males, simps. It's all the same shit, right? The dudes that pay for girls stuff and buy girls things, and the girl doesn't give them nothing in return, right? That gets you angry. Because I got angry just now. But the word simp is what is the word? Um, is congruent, I guess. It's related to the word beta male. It's just literally the same thing. It's synonymous, right? The word simp is synonymous to beta male, right? And why is that? Why is beta male the same as simp, right? When you think of the words, just remember the words, right? When I was reading this book about witches and energy and shit, right? About fucking the brain, and it was explaining how, like, when, like, the man who is able to conjure up spells and shit like that, you got, in order for you to have a certain amount of magical power, as a, like, I know this might sound crazy, but the book was explaining how, like, in order to have these magical powers, you have to be in a certain brainwave frequency, right? When your brain is in theta, right? We all know theta brainwave frequencies is when you're asleep, right? So you're asleep, and when you're asleep, you're actually, I think, don't quote me on this, because I feel like being in theta is right before sleep. I don't remember, right? But I just know that there was one that it's like you're in a trance, right? You're in a trance state where you're just, like, able to understand, like languages, right? Like, that's when they say, like, oh, learn Spanish in your sleep or learn Russian in your sleep. It's because you're in theta waves, and your brain is, like, basically in your subconscious, right? Like, that's your subconscious mind instead of your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is asleep, but your subconscious is still awake. So you can program your subconscious mind so you can learn new things, like learning new languages, learning, things subliminally, basically. Like, there's this episode of Dexter's Laboratory that I used to love as a kid, right? Where he's just sitting there, I mean, he's sleeping, and then he just goes, "Après du fromage," right? And he's basically just saying he wants some cheese or some shit, right? And it's funny because he learns that while he's asleep, and the whole episode he's just, like, famous because he learned how to say he wants some cheese and in French, and then he becomes famous and shit. And it's just funny because it's the principle of what he learns, right? It's the principle of the episode, because he basically says that he basically learns it because he was sleeping, right? And that's a theta. He's in theta brainwave state, right? So since he's in theta brainwave state, he's able to learn, right? We are all familiar with that state. So there's other states as well. The whole point of me telling you is that because There's different states. There's one state called beta, right? When you're in beta frequency, you are neurotic, right? You're fully responsive. You're fully awake, basically. It's being in beta means that you're fully awake, I believe. I think there was one before it. Don't quote me on these. It's just like I just understand it a certain way, right? I probably have to go back to it, but this I'm explaining to you how I understand it, right? When you're in beta, it's basically like you're fully alert. You're fully like you're basically like manic. You're basically just like anything that happens is gonna like set you off, and you're gonna act extra emotional. You're gonna act you're gonna go crazy to it, right? You're basically not at ease. It just means that you're not at ease, right? That's why you get so much stress, you get so much tension in your body, because you're in beta waves. Your brain is fully alert. So since it's fully alert, it's sending these beta frequencies to your sympathetic. It makes you react using your sympathetic nervous system, right? Basically your sympathetic nervous system. You're sympathetic, right? Because if you think about it, as men, we're not supposed to really be sympathetic. We're supposed to be ruthless. We're supposed to be killers, right? But then your sympathetic nervous system is activated. So it's your sympathetic nervous system making you act with your beta thought waves and patterns, creating this behavior that is known today as simping, right? Because it's your sympathetic nervous system. And then you have your alpha nervous system, your alpha brainwaves, right? Alpha, like, basically, alpha is the beginning, right? Beta is the next one, right? Beta is after alpha. Why do I say this? Because alpha, like alphabet, means you're at the top in the first one. Because alpha brainwaves patterns are basically like you're more at ease, right? When your brain is in alpha, it's like you're chilling, you're just like, it's like right before going to sleep. You're in a very right, and you're in a very like trance state. It's not as much as in theta, but it's still pretty, that's like the waves that you need to do to be at in order to be casting spells, right? Like if you read any magic book, it tells you that the wizards, the witches, all those people are in alpha brainwaves, right? Because they're not at alert, their brains aren't really functioning like crazy. And the thing is, if you think about it, right, that basically just puts you closer to, it's like, the thing is, imagine you're gonna go up to a girl, right? To make this all easier and more simpler, imagine you're gonna go up to a girl. Are you going to think and overthink and keep thinking? Because if you keep thinking, that's what causes those beta frequencies, right? Thinking, overthinking. You're using your sympathetic nervous system to keep thinking. When you're in alpha, the jerk, he don't give a fuck. He just goes up to her. He doesn't like because that's why they say alpha dudes are dumb, because they're not using their thinking brain. They're using their alpha brain, which means that they turn their thinking off and they just go with the flow of life, and they're in this alpha frequency, right? So that's why they call him the alpha male, because the alpha male is just going with the frequency of life, right? It's a spiritual thing. It's like, and it's so funny because it's like people, that are not spiritual. I feel like that's why before you even try to get girls, you try to become spiritual, right? Because then a lot of these concepts make sense to you. Because the alpha male, I remember my brother trying to explain to me that there's no such thing as an alpha male. It's like, my nigga, there's all this shit makes sense. You feel me? Like, they didn't just pull this shit out their ass. Like, it's all here for a reason. Your sympathetic nervous system, because that's just your neurotic. It means that you're neurotic, right? And I was watching a video today on YouTube about how to have a deeper voice, right? Like, dude was talking about having a deeper voice, And he was explaining how what happens to people is that they go, like when they go through trauma, they go into something called a neurotic holding pattern or some shit like that, right? And it makes all their energy up here, so they're not speaking at their the correct depth, right? They, if they wanted to speak at their correct depth, they would put their energy more grounded, more lower. Like if you listen to Elliot Host, he talks about that stuff. Like he's just like, oh, I made my voice more grounded. Like you just take your deep breath, and then you know, because confidence is about like how much you let your voice out, like how much you want people to know that what you're saying, and it's also grounding your voice, right? And that's what I'm understanding, is that because sometimes you don't want people to know what you're talking about, and it's funny because I always, when I was younger, I would always hide. I still do it now, right? I still will hide my phone calls, right? Because I don't want people listening to what I'm saying, because I might talk shit about somebody and I don't want them knowing, because I was always trying to avoid conflict. And I understand that it's because of that. All these traumas that I had as a kid, trying to be a good little boy and shit. I understand how they're fucking me up now. But whatever. We're talking about alpha males, right? So basically, the alpha male is just a man in the alpha frequency, because when you're in alpha frequency, you're going with the flow of life. And in the flow of life, you don't really need to do anything. You just let it. It's because I don't know. I don't know how to explain it the way I see. Because sometimes when I'm tattooing, I just leave my body and I just astral project, right? And I basically just watch myself tattooing, and I understand that I am good at tattooing, right? But the thing is that when I'm in my body, in my head, and I'm thinking like, oh, I gotta do this, so, and I'm thinking, I'm not really paying attention to the tattoo, and it's like I leave my body, and then I just like allow myself, like my human form, to just do the tattoo. I know it sounds crazy. I sound crazy as fuck, but it's like you kind of gotta let life do its thing, right? Like that's what we're here for. We're here to observe life, like just, because the thing is, like, this isn't even like, honestly, I don't even like, I don't feel scared talking about it, because I learned it from a book. Because all right, let's say, um, for an example, because we can all ask to project, right? Some people do it better than other people. The thing is all right. So let's say zebra is running away from a cheetah, right? What happens is that the zebra will understand that it's on its last leg, and it's like, fuck, I'm gonna get, there's no way I'm gonna outrun this cheetah. So what it does is it plays dead, right? The cheetah will play dead. I mean, the zebra will play dead, and when it does that, it takes away the satisfaction of the kill, right? It takes away the satisfaction of the kill from the cheetah. So what that does is it makes the cheetah really not interested in it, because the cheetah wants to kill it, because the cheetah wants that thrill of the kill, right? And I understand that because I'm a piercer, and no homicide, but sometimes I feel that thrill of the kill when I'm doing a piercing, right? Because like I feel that adrenaline rush. It's just like, damn, it's more for me. It's more of a sense of accomplishment, because I'm always nervous that I'm not gonna be able to do it, but then I do end up doing it. So that gives me a really big confidence boost. But I understand the thrill of the kill, right? Because when we're like hunting is such a crazy sport, because it gives you such a rush of just like, damn, I did that, I accomplished this. It's like such a primal feeling, right? Like to go hunting. Basically, what I was explaining is that when you have these the zebra gets caught by the cheetah. The cheetah is still gonna eat it. It's still gonna take it home, right? But what it does is that the zebra don't gotta run no more. So what happens is that the zebra just plays dead, and then the cheetah takes the zebra, and then the zebra pretends to be dead while it gets took from the cheetah to the cubs, right? The cheetah will take it to the cubs. Once the zebra gets to the cubs, because what happens is that the zebra plays dead. But how does it do that, right? What happens is that the zebra will literally leave its body and travel up into the astral realm, right? The cheetah will literally travel up to the astral realm and while it's in the astral realm, it's letting its body stay here on Earth, right? And it basically just dissociates itself, right? It disassociates itself from its body, and it just goes up into the air, like the soul of the zebra. What happens is that when the zebra comes back to the den of the cheetahs, what does it do? It comes back to its body, and then it runs the fuck out, right? It runs out. Why am I explaining this to you guys? Because basically, we are the zebra, right? We do the same thing. Like when we're younger, we disassociate from our bodies, right? We leave. We're not in contact with our body anymore. We're just connected, right? Because we leave our bodies and we don't come back sometimes, right? And the people that don't come back are the betas, because a lot of times we go through these traumas, we leave our bodies and we forget how to come back, right? It's not like we're dead. It's not like nothing. It's just that we're no longer attached. Like, if you don't believe me, read this book. It's called I think it's by Robert Singer. I think that's his name. It's called The Untethered Soul, right? And it explains, like, that's literally what an untethered soul is. Your soul is no longer tethered to your body. So what happens is that we untether our souls from our bodies, and we have a disconnect because we don't want to deal with these traumatic things. Because the thing is, it's like all right, so one time I smoked weed, right? And when I smoked it, I basically dissociated, and I was seeing everything crazy. And I was looking it up on Google, and it was explaining how when very traumatic things happen to us, we sometimes dissociate from our bodies. Because the thing is, it's like, let's say something incredibly painful is gonna happen. It's like you don't really want to suffer through that pain. So what happens is that we dissociate, because it's like a cheat code, right? It's like a cheat code in life that not too many people know about it, really. But it's basically just like, it's like you don't gotta, it's all right. So I was watching this video from King Sid, right? And he basically gives them a card, and like they're all trying to like win a car, and they got to keep their hand on the car, right? And they got to do a dare, and after every dare, if they can either do it or they can give the card and not do the dare. That's basically what this is. It's like God is like, all right, you can get eaten, or I can give you this card and you don't got to do it. You don't got to go through that. And it's just like, all right, I'm gonna use my card. But what happens is that we use our card so we can't come back. So we disassociate with our bodies, and when you disassociate with your body, you're basically not physically here anymore. So you're not going with the flow. You're just in your mind. You're just in your head thinking about things, thinking. You're not really going with what's going on. You're not really down here with everything that's happening. And I notice these things, right? So you can call me crazy if you want or whatever. I understand these are the things that's going on. These are the things happening around us. But I'm gonna make another video, so I'm gonna talk. If you guys want me to talk about this more, comment it below. Subscribe if you're new, and tell me if you think that there's such thing as an alpha male or not, or if that's something that's bullshit and not really real, and all these things that I'm saying is lies. All right. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.